And now, from 12 Studios, this is News 12 Now.
Welcome to News 12 Now for Tuesday, October 2nd. I'm Annette Campbell. The dock workers' strike is entering its second day. Chris Van Cleve shows us what is going on. Let's take it now.
For a second day, 14 ports from Boston to Houston shut down after dock workers walked off the job. Those ports handle about 80% of the coffee, tea, spirits, and beverage imports, as well as about 60% of medical and surgical instruments coming into the U.S. Also halted, about 76% of vehicle exports. Anthony Mundy is among at least 25,000 union workers on strike demanding better wages and job protections against automation.
We're looking ahead into the future. Going to work now at the risk of losing our jobs 5 or 10 years down the road is very short-sighted.
Morton Williams grocery stores in New York City say they stocked up on extra perishables to buy time.
If it goes a few days, there won't be much of an effect. If it goes weeks, a month, or more, there could be a very big effect. We'll definitely have higher prices, and we might have empty shelves.
The strike could cost the economy up to $5 billion a day.
Apparel, footwear, consumer electronics, home goods, decorations, food products, anything you can think of is coming through these ports. So they are vital to the economy, and it is critical that we get them back up and running.
Still, New York's governor again urged people not to rush the stores.
It's not time to be panic buying groceries or other products.
Chris Van Cleve, CBS News.
Now, new on News 12 Now, Broken Bow Middle and High Schools were evacuated after a bomb threat this morning. Police are asking people to avoid the area while they investigate. Parents are able to pick up students at the Victory Life Church, and vehicles and personal items will be released soon. This is the second bomb threat made towards the school in the past week. Police say nothing was found after the threat last Thursday. There's increased security at Wynnewood Public Schools today after an alleged threat was made online last night. The school says that the FBI notified the school resource officer about a threatening Snapchat post. The person who made the post was questioned and is being monitored by authorities. Classes went on as scheduled today. Ardmore City Schools have fired a former elementary teacher who was charged with child abuse over the summer. The school board dismissed Betty Planta-Lewis at the superintendent's recommendation. Planta-Lewis was arrested in June, accused of jerking 2 children around, pulling one child by their hair, jerking a child to their feet from a sleeping cot, and jerking a child across a table by their arm. The alleged incidents happened in March and April at Will Rogers Elementary School. Planta-Lewis is due back in court later this month. A Carter County woman is facing a felony charge after authorities say she stole nearly $30,000 from an elderly woman in her care. 27-year-old Courtney Lytle of Wilson was arrested Friday for abuse by caretaker. Oklahoma court documents state that Lidley wrote over $28,000 in checks from the woman's account and also used it to make payments through PayPal and Venmo. Lytle bonded out of the Carter County Jail Sunday. She faces up to 10 years in prison if convicted. A man suspected of being involved in a violent home invasion in Paris 2 weeks ago is now in jail. Paris police say 27-year-old David Anderson was arrested yesterday after officers responded to a fight. That's when they found that Anderson had a warrant for assault with a deadly weapon for the break-in and an assault. They say the incident also involved an exchange of gunfire. A power outage in Bryan County has some people in the dark this afternoon. Southern Electric Co-op says that it's at the Kersey substation and is impacting people in Meade and Silo. Crews are working to make repairs, but there's no known restoration time right now. One person had minor injuries after a car crashed into a convenience store in Durant yesterday afternoon. It happened around 2 at the recently remodeled Love store on Main Street. These photos were taken by Matt Swearnigan with the Durant Democrat. Durant police say a 78-year-old woman from Calera accidentally hit the gas instead of the brakes, sending the car through the front doors of the building. An employee inside was hit by debris and taken to the hospital, but is okay. No one else was hurt. No charges will be filed. Bryan County leaders met last night to talk about taxes. News 12's Austin Hedgecoth tells us why county leaders believe raising taxes now is a matter of survival.
Transparency is the name. Passing a new proposition is the game.
When it comes to not having the money to help grow, we're in a tough spot.
Right now, every time someone buys something in Bryan County, half of 1 penny per dollar goes to the county budget. Now the commissioners are asking for an extra cent.
In order for us to just be able to maintain where we're at, I think a sales tax is going to be necessary.
Road repairs and new sheriff's deputies are top priorities. And County Commissioner Brandon Carr insists 1 penny would go a long way.
With the current rate of our funding now, we'll have to save for 3 years just to be able to do a mile of overlay. And with this money actually coming in with a quarter-cent going to each district, I think you'll be able to save for 3 months instead of 3 years.
Usually the tax people pay at the pump funds much of the county's business. But as cars get more efficient, counties are making less with the gas tax. That's why 76 counties in Oklahoma have a sales tax. Bryan County Sheriff Johnny Christian says most nearby counties already take 2 cents on the dollar, the max a county can take.
We're the lowest of all surrounding counties and a lot of other counties in the state. We're just at a half a cent.
The propositions will appear on the ballot in November when voters have the final say.
Our county is growing, and it's only continued growing, and we're wanting to grow with it.
This fall, it's not a penny for your thoughts, but a penny for the county government. In Durant, Austin Hedgecoth, News 12.
Well, if you drive on Lamberth Road in Sherman, gear up for more closures and construction. Starting this week, the road will close between Nantucket and Canyon Creek Drive for a sewer line replacement expected to last 6 weeks. And next year, the road from Crossword Drive to Highway 75 will close again for about 9 months. The construction is designed to ease traffic and flooding problems in the years ahead. New this afternoon, postal workers in San Antonio are part of a national rally to raise awareness on their current work conditions with early voting starting in a few weeks. Earl Stratemeyer explains why workers say the fight for their needs impacts all of us at home.
We're just over a month away from the November general election, and mail-in ballots take up a decent amount of votes. USPS says it'll be taking extraordinary measures to make sure ballots are in on time, but postal workers here say they need better services year-round. Nearly a dozen postal workers are on Perrin-Bidle Road, their pickets in hand, marching for a change.
We're overworked. We're working one person per machine. You know, it's a struggle.
Sherry Pierre has worked for USPS for nearly 20 years. She says she is now constantly facing challenges.
It used to be a joy to come to work, and sometimes it's not anymore. A lot of times it's not for a lot of people.
The San Antonio chapter of the American Postal Workers Union is rallying for increased pay, extra staffing, and a fair contract for employees. Its president, Alex Alemán, says USPS gets extra help during an election to make sure mailed ballots make deadline, but Alemán says they want this kind of staffing and support year-round.
It's a continual struggle to make the public aware, right, of what's going on at the post office and also what's going on with their mail. Management is not providing to the extent where it should be reliable and timely delivered.
The American Postal Workers Union San Antonio chapter says it plans on having additional rallies later in the fall. On the northeast side, Earl Stratemeyer, KENS 5.
A plan is under fire to create a reservoir in Texas that could provide drinking water to people in Dallas and Fort Worth. Matt Houston has more.
Go round. This room is normally reserved for DFW's mayors and judges. But Monday, it's filled.
If this were to happen, we would lose 3,200 acres personally in the middle of the lake there.
With East Texans. And it's not the first time some members of this crowd have traveled more than 100 miles to make their point.
I don't know if we're not being heard, we're not being understood, or nobody cares, but we're still here.
Here to save their homes. The state has long planned to dam up the Sulphur River and create a nearly 70,000-acre lake, Marvin Nichols Reservoir. Pipes would carry that water to booming DFW, where there may not be enough to quench demand in the next 50 years.
That's going to get you about 3 million people. So that's a population growth in the Metroplex of 3 million people that can be supported with that much water. And that's a lot of economic value for the state of Texas.
But people work and live there too.
This has been a long struggle.
People like Jim Marshall.
We all need water. There's better ways to get it.
And people like Eddie Belcher.
My livelihood, my life is at stake.
The residents warned the lake would devastate the local timber industry, kill native plants and animals, and displace families who've lived on ranches there for generations. The DFW's water problem still needs solving.
We wish there was a better way to capture it and conserve it.
These folks say state planners haven't looked hard enough for alternatives like water conservation.
Just leave us alone. Let us live our lives out where we were born and raised.
The East Texas residents and DFW leaders have a few months to compromise, though they've been debating this for decades. A deadline is approaching, and without a deal, the State Water Board will need to pick a side.
That was Matt Houston reporting. The Texas Water Development Board is expected to publish its comprehensive water plan in 2027.
Thank you for watching today's News 12 Now. Make sure to subscribe so you find out why Texoma turns to us. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where you'll see more social media exclusive content. Want more News 12 Now? Watch us live every weekday through the KXII app on your phone or TV and through our website.